Hi everybody, I'm going to show you a few of the basics behind drawing. Probably won't cover everything here, but some of the more go-to operations that you can do on Draw. What you start with is a canvas. Everything in this checkerboard area is essentially, it would not show up as you print from this. So this little checkerboard design usually indicates that that's technically transparent. So everything you add onto this is going to be kind of like transparent canvas. So your basic operations are in the words up here, and that includes things that you can do on the canvas and also things you can do with the entire file. So one thing I want to show you right away under file is you got your typical make a copy, download as. If you want to put this into something that you want to print off as a flyer, you can change it if you need to, or you can print directly from it. But the page setup is important. If you click on that, you can change from a typical 4:3 to custom. So if you want to make this something that is the size of a page, you can change this page setup to 8.5 by 11, and then you get a page size document. So this is really good if you want to do something that's more graphic design. Teachers that want to do something, a flyer that has a nice border or some other images on it, that this is the kind of the way to do that. So some of the other basic functions you can do in here under edit, this will let you undo or redo something. So if there's something that you have already done and you just don't like it where it is, you can go back one, just like in other Google Docs. Under the view, that's a lot of how you want to see it as you work on it. So you can kind of blow it up if you want, so you can see finer detail. You can also show a ruler if you need to. So this would be helpful if you're trying to create a doc, if you want to kind of mentally eyeball where a margin might be. This would not automatically add in margins. It would go all the way to the edge. So that might be helpful to you depending on what you're doing. There's some other things in here that would kind of help you along the way if you wanted to show some different guides or things that would help you along the way. Insert is where you can bring in things onto your canvas. So images, anything that you have saved on your computer, or you can go to search the web if you're looking for something in particular. Just a typical warning, remember that if this is something that goes out to the public, you definitely can't use certain images from the internet. That would be a copyright infringement. So you want to make sure that you search those things safely and make sure that you're using images that are free to use on your canvas if it's something that's going to go out to public, or if you're creating something for a blog or something like that. Text box is obviously where you're going to be writing into a square. So unlike a typical Google Doc, you're not going to be able to just click a cursor anywhere and just start typing. You need to bring in a text box, but then that would allow you, that's a click and drag, and then this allows you to resize this. So everything within this is going to be text-based, but then you can work with that and change it like you would in a typical doc. So you can adjust the color of it and the sizing and so on. But once you have it done, then you can use this little swivel dot on the top, and this works for all images, and you can twist and turn it if you want. You can also grab hold of it by the, I usually try to grab the top edge of it. If you grab in the middle, it'll do something different, but if you grab the edge of it somewhere here, you can move the entire, oh, there, it just gave me a different one. You can move the whole thing to wherever you would like it. The shapes, they give you a whole bunch of options. So that's under Insert Shapes. But it's also under this little button here. So either one you can click. And there's some cool shapes in here, things that you might use for different purposes. Again, that's a click and drag to drop the first time, but then you can resize it from there. You can also change the color, and that's the paint can here. Or if you need a custom color, you can click on custom. And the first one is the darkness of it. The dot is where in the rainbow that it is. And the last one is opacity. So the closer you get to the bottom, the more opaque it might be. So if you're going to want to have something kind of peeking through from underneath, you'd be able to have something that was somewhat opaque so that you could see through it. All right. A range is important. So if you have different things selected, let's say I have this, and I want, instead of it going underneath the line, I want my test based to go over the top. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on arrange and order, and that's going to bring that highlighted piece in front. So if this piece was not opaque and I had this more of a straight up blue, that's how you get it so that it fits what you're looking to do. So I can twist this around a little bit, and I can move it. You can also use your arrow keys. Once it's highlighted, meaning that there's a blue surround, you can use your arrow keys, which in some cases gives you a little bit more control. That'll give you one big move each time. If you hold the shift key, it gives you an itty bitty tiny move. And that's really helpful for getting things perfectly straight. So if I wanted the reverse of this, I would highlight the great big box. I would go to arrange, order, and bring that one to front, which would cover it. So a lot of people that work with this at first say, well, I got everything the way I want it, but some pieces are covering others. And the answer to that is to change the order. So if you think about it, it's kind of like something that is stacked on a tabletop or something like that. So you can also draw a lot of different kinds of lines, straight lines, and then there's a little caret right next to the little line symbol here, and that gives you some other options like a scribble. So if you want to literally draw, this part works really cool on a touchscreen Chromebook. If you have that, you can literally write with your fingers. But then this becomes one solid image. So once that's highlighted, I can use my I can't. Oh, I gotta go back to my arrow pointer, that's why. Okay, so now I've highlighted the whole scribble, and I can move that whole scribble around if I want to. I can't cut in between here at all, but I can treat this just like anything else. And so if I want to make sure that this goes behind instead of in front of this image, I would go to arrange, order, and send backward. So send backward sends it back one level each time. Right. So if you did what I did and you get kind of lost in what you're doing, sometimes it gets stuck on every time you touch something, it tries to make a shape. You're just going to go back to your cursor button, and that's going to be helpful with that. Go into the images. You can, in a lot of cases, drag and drop images from your desktop directly on here. So if you have something saved, you can just plop it in there, and then you can still use that function of bringing things to the front.